Welcome back with Condo Living from Patrick Roy and his wife. This video will be covering the envelope of our building on the outside. We got a great envelope. Everybody seems to be really paranoid when it comes to holes in the windows. And I just wanted to show you that these windows are designed to make sure that they do not hold water in them. And I'm just going along underneath the edge of the window. And this hole here will allow the any water that gets into your window to drain out so that you do not have water egress into your unit. The second thing it'll do is allow air into your unit so you don't have a sick home syndrome into your unit. We'll talk about this a bit later. The windows will all be set up this way. You see the holes that are there. I'm just going along now, walking up some stairs, so I'm a bit, you see the holes there. A hole over there. Okay, I just want to talk to you a wee bit about our balcony, and I want to talk to you about us spending a great deal of money to have our envelope checked, and we had some engineers come here to do some checking on our envelope. And one of the things that the engineers did, they stood on this very same balcony and they were talking to me, and you know what they told me? They told me that there's a hole down there. You got to cover that hole, you got to cover that hole over there. Well, guess what? You'll notice here, every one of these posts here, the aluminum ones that are up here, if there was any water that got into this, there's a place that has to get out. And that's out that hole. And that's why it's designed there. And I appreciate the Kirchhoffs and their workers making sure that that hole is there and it's open. And we should keep that hole open too, so the water can get out. That's why it's there. Not many years ago, I just finished restoring a 1955 Chevy. The rocker panels all had holes in the bottom, let the water out, and so did the doors, just like our aluminum frame windows do here. Just like the new floor pan on my 1955 Chevy, you'll notice holes all through it. If you get into the car with wet boots and the moisture goes down through your mats, it'll go out through the holes so that it's dry. Now, we will be covering the balcony in another series here, and we'll be talking about other things on the balcony and on the barbecue that's there, what the location should be for that and so forth and why. But right now I just wanted to have this available because we've been talking about it on the last series about making sure that we don't have the end downs covered or the holes covered where we have water that can come out. We need to have a good, safe envelope, and I really appreciate the fact that the workers and the Kirchhoffs made some over here as well. I'll get you to just come over here, and you'll notice over here as well the holes that was there, and therefore if you get any water in there, that can come out there. I appreciate that. And this is the first time my brother, when he passed away, he gave me this pool stick, and this is the first time I got to use this, so I'm pretty happy about that. But anyways, I just want to add this in about making sure that we have water that doesn't get into our building outside. We got a very, very good envelope. Let's make sure we keep the envelope secure and don't do things to do damage to it. Thank you very much. Well, it's been about 5 years since we've been in this condo at 1151 Sunset. And I got to say, I've learned an awful lot. Shortly after being in here, coming from the trades, it wasn't long I was talking to tradespeople. I had a fellow, his name was Darcy. Darcy he spent a lot of time in Vancouver working with leaky condos. And he was the one that gave me a lot of information as regards to the end dams, the holes, and also to the envelope around our building. He couldn't say enough about the envelope that we have on our building. It was excellent. And I grew up, we used to have work-based training. Other people called it apprenticeship. Probably the best training system that there is in the world. And not only was that, but you also paid for it along the way because you paid taxes as you were working, the employer paid you, and you did all these different things. Later on, the institutions wanted to get us in there, and they wanted bums and seats, and things have kind of changed. But Darcy was here along with other tradespeople, and we've scooped so much information from them. And he was helping us on the windows. So this is where we were getting the information that we needed for our windows, and that's what we're following. So Darcy, if you're back this way, drop in. I'll buy you a coffee. How's that? Some masters in the trade have really helped us out with the evaluation on the envelope of our building, and they talked about no end dams on there. Well, guess what? There should not be end dams on there. That is to allow the water to get out. Okay, Patrick Roy with Condo Living back again. I just wanted to show you, we have already showed it, so I'm going to go through this fast. And this is these chains you have on your blinds, and it's good to have them hung up for safety so nobody gets caught in them or anything like that. And I'm going to go from here now, and I'm going to take you over to the other blind and the problems that people have with them. I've had to fix a lot of blinds in this building, and what happens is you'll notice here on the top, and I'll show you that ball there, right there. If you see me go up right there, and I keep pulling, I can pull that right through that hole, and you're not going to get it back. The only way you're going to get that back is take that blind apart, and I'll show you how to do that. And the same as when you're pulling the blind up. If you pull it up, there's the stopper there. If you pull it up, and you're jerking on this deal, you'll pull that right through there. So when you pull it through there, how do you get it back? Okay, I'll show you. Just a second. Let's say you were pulling it too fast and you made it go through that stopper and you can't get it back. How do you fix that? Well, the first thing you can do is you can take these off here like that. So that's down. If it's a long one, you're going to make sure that it doesn't, the other end you can't hold, falls down and hits your floor and damages your floor. So if you need somebody to hold the other end when you take it off, that's okay. Now, how do you fix this here? I'll show you how you fix that. Okay. Now, I got two Phillips screwdrivers, or not screwdrivers, but screws here, and I'm just taking them out now. Okay, got the one loose. Okay, I should be able to take that off there. Now, I'll get you to take a look at that, see what that looks like. I took them two screws out, and once you take the screws out, let's say this here particular ball is caught up above here, and so now with that out, you can pull that right out of there, and you can, and see, that can go right up above. All you have to do is pull it down like this through there. You got it down underneath. You're good to go again. I showed you that's a stopper that you've actually pulled it by. You put that back in there now. So you'll notice the holes here are now closed again. So don't pull it hard to go pull it by that. And I'll put the screws back in here. And I'm just putting that in now. And now you don't want to over tighten it, but definitely it's got to be tight. So I'm just putting that one back in there. Okay, now what I need to do is just get that little piece of, so I'm just going on at a bit of an angle. You feel it, you feel where it snapped in on it didn't snap, I hooked it over the top. I take it to the bottom, push that one in, push that one in. Bob's your uncle, we got her fixed. So one thing I would say about the electric blinds and remote, they are programmed so they don't come up and hit that stop and pull through. They're good, they're expensive, but they're good for that. So just be careful with this, and also to make sure you hang your chains up if you've got kids and that around in your home. Thank you very much. I'll come down off the ladder now. Okay, I'm back again. Actually, some people, either adults or young kids, have pulled that chain hard enough that they've actually broke the chain. So what do? Well, there's a couple things. You can buy a new chain, I guess, and put it in. Or you can take, and I bought these little clips for them chains. Now, you can't have that running through the gear up there, but if you time this so that these are outside all the time, you just need to take this and snap it onto the chain. You see, you got, it'll cover two balls. It'll snap on real easy. We used to have them on keychains, remember that? And they have them so they'll snap onto these chains. You can bring them together. Just got to make sure you time it so that these don't run through the gear up top. So just another point, they're fairly cheap. You can buy them from a building supply, and you can fix the chain too. So you can pretty well do anything you need to do with that to keep her going. Thank you very much. Okay, we're out on the balcony now, and there's not a lot out here in the cement, out in the balcony. It's mostly just cement, but we're going to cover some of this. It's quite important. First of all, I'd like to point you to R2D2. Actually, R2D2 is our barbecue over here, and I'll give you a bit of information where your barbecue should be located. Because you get a fair amount of wind up here, and we're along the lake, you want it somewhere near your gas outlet, so you don't have to have a gas line strung across that you're tripping over. And the second thing is you want it so it's more out of the wind, because the wind can come in and it can actually take your temperature in your barbecue way down. So be very careful where you put it. Try and keep it out of the wind, and that would be good. If your barbecue is out in the wind and the wind is blowing and taking the flame down, you better like rare steaks, because that's what you're going to get. The other thing I want to say is on here, like I said, there isn't a lot on the balcony, especially in the wintertime when we're inside, like it is right now. And it's a cantilevered cement slab that comes from our main structure of our high-rise, comes out and is part of the balcony. And it's supported except for this corner that has a column, and it supports it all the way up here. And the only thing else that I would point to is on the floor deck here, you'll see it's called a liquid applied urethane. Now that's something I went and actually got the brand that's down there now, and they have it, they can provide it for me. So probably in the warmer weather, I will redo that. And right now as well, you'll see the railing that we have, which is aluminum powder coated railing, which is known to last a long time. But when they put the bolts in, they weren't put in straight, and so I sealed them. But at that time it was a gray sealant, but it's turned dark. So I'll probably be redoing that again. And I would suggest if you do that, we'll clean them all off and then we'll put that on. But I'll use a smaller tube that you can get in around and do a neater job than I did with the big dispenser that I used for that. So those are some things, but I want to talk to you a wee bit about the cement. Just so you know that cement lasts actually thousands of years. I think that's going to be longer than us. And if you look at the Western Roman Empire, you're going to see those structures are still in place. And there's another one as well, and I think it's one of the longest ones that's still being in use today. It's Leghorn Dam. It was built in the 1300s. It's about a mile long, 23 feet high, and you know, it's still producing water that's going into Leghorn. So I'm going to tell you, don't worry about the cement. Plus our balconies have no wood or anything that's going to rot on them. So you don't have to worry. They'll be like the Bighorn Dam. They'll be standing after thousands of years. I keep saying cement. I guess the proper term should be concrete. Sorry about that. You just make the switch when you hear it. And the windows are on a different area that we will cover separately after. So I won't bring the windows up at this particular time. But I'm just saying, if they're putting these in your depreciation report, they shouldn't be doing that. And so, just like in your cement foundation in the parkade, the province says don't put it in there because they'll last longer than what your building is. So here, you're safe. I'll give you a bit after on more on the balcony, but right now we'll bring this to a stop. Now on the railing, I mentioned before, it's a powder coated railing. As far as cleaning it, you don't want to use some abrasive things or scrub pads or anything like that. But rather you can use, and it seems like it works with just about everything, warm water and some mild soap and a sponge, and clean her off, wash it off. That would be the way to do it. Now I know I'm talking about by the windows and our door here and the holes underneath it. We mentioned that before. Just one other thing I wanted to mention. Some people complain that we get a strong wind, they can see the blinds move. Well, guess what? We need to have air into our home, and yes, the air can go in through those holes or the holes I showed you before and actually get into your home. But if you don't get air into your home, actually very similar to some of the early R2000 homes, you'll get what's known as sick home syndrome. And you actually need that air to stay healthy, to have air come in. So don't be too worried about that. Just be worried when you're not getting the air in, because you're not going to be feeling very well. Now the balcony above you, that's just above your head here, I just want to say a few things. I think it's probably in your the rules that's provided or your bylaws, but you're not supposed to be drilling into that. You have a safe balcony. The only thing you've got to do is don't destroy it. So don't go drilling holes in the balcony, and you want to look after the balcony that you have. Well, I'm sorry, I did run this one a little bit long again. I'm going to try and train myself to bring them a little bit shorter. I just wanted to say that, just so you know, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse. Actually, I wouldn't even be qualified to put a bandage on your finger. But there is something I would like to tell you, and that is, if you've moved to a relatively new home or an actual new home that is very tight, let's say after you moved there, you didn't realize it, but you were very tired, and you had difficulty with being tired. You had watery eyes, you did a lot of sneezing, you had headaches, and you were somewhat dizzy. I want to tell you that these are all symptoms of what's called a sick home syndrome. So if you keep your units too tight with no air getting in, that is what's going to cause that. So don't be afraid of some air coming into your home. Actually, you want that. So don't be too worried about that. And I'm going to, next series, cover the windows and how to look after the windows. And then we're out of here. We're out of the unit, and we'll start to go to the common areas. We'll catch you a little bit later. Thank you.